What's going on, everyone? Juicebags here, and welcome back to the Dungeon Defenders Awakened PTR. We are here on the new upcoming map, The Keep, on Massacre Hardcore Rifted Survival, with a Wave 23 start. Now, this is a PTR build, of course, so not only will this map have a boss fight on it at the end when it launches onto the various platforms, it additionally is going to be the highest quality loot in the game. Chromatic has already come right out and said this is the highest difficulty map. This is where the highest loot quality possibility can drop. So the new mechanic with the portals, we've got these portals that are going to open up throughout the map that allow enemies to teleport up. Now the deal with these guys that make them so special is they have the chance to drop fusion gear right on the ground. So it's very important just in a farming situation to get as many possible fusion drops as we can. So we're going to want to kill every one of those portals. Now, going through and building the map without killing the portals definitely makes it easier if you're looking for your first time clearing the map. However, once you get it clear and you're to the point where you want to start farming it, you do want to kill all of those portals. Now, we're going to be using a 5-hero deck, which is nice as well, as it does leave us one spot open to level a hero, as I'm leveling up my warden right here. Let's take a look through the stats, though. I'm going to be using a boost monk with a striking gemstone, and this is my stats there. This is also my fusion and snare aura builder. Then, of course, we are going to have some fusion gas traps. Taking a look at the stats there. The lovely, lovely DST. This is actually my best geared hero at the moment. We are going to be using some DSTs there as well. The lightning tower is quite the beast these days. Still working on getting my lightning towers juiced up. These are actually a wrong build. I'm converting it over now. You should prioritize defense rate on the LTs, at least in the PTR. And then, last but not least, we are going to bring along those lovely buff beams, of course. Now, we are going to go ahead and start off the build over here at this far west core. And we are going to build right up top here. So we want to get on our LT Apprentice, and we're going to drop 2 LTs just right here. We want to go ahead and throw a buff beam in over all of this, of course. Just get a little 4DU buff beam right there. We're going to drop 3 upgrades on the buff beam and 2 upgrades on each of the LTs. And then we want to protect this. So we're going to want to protect it from ogre spawns possibly coming from right there. So let's go ahead and split 2 reflect beams into a V shape here for just as much coverage as we can possibly get without spending 3DU. Okay, now we want to go ahead and drop down below here, and we want to put 1D reflect beam here, but we want one that's going to protect this core from 3 different angles. So you are going to want to stretch that DU out, or that reflect beam out as far as you can. 3.8 meters is the length you're looking for here, and you'll want to get it as close as you can to the core as well. Looks like something like that will probably get it. And then just double check. You want to look at the bottom point of the core and make sure that you're covering that bottom point from all 3 of these angles. The one in the middle, of course, is a no-brainer. You'll be covering it if you're hitting this one. But we see that all those angles are covered. So then I'm going to throw an ensnare aura right inside here. You want to get the ensnare just close enough to the core where you are picking up the buff beam here. So depending on your range, make sure you sneak it in there. And then we want to get a gas trap right outside. Now let's go ahead and head on over to the other lane here, and we're basically going to do essentially the same build on this other lane. Obviously a little bit different placements, but we're going to go up top and onto this center column right here for our LT. Then we're going to throw in our buff beam. You want to go right against the left edge of that center column. Once you get those in, same thing, 3 ups on the buff beam, 2 ups on each of the LTs. Now this lane we need to protect from a possible ogre spawn from that door. So when we put our reflects in, we're going to start it over on that wall. And once again, create just kind of that V shape and try to make it so your reflect beams are peaking, or your LTs are peaking as little or not as much as possible. So looks like I do have a little peak on this one, but I think that's close enough where we will probably be okay. So I'm just going to roll with that. Then down here, we want to go ahead and drop an ensnare aura right at the corner here. That's just going to naturally pick up that buff beam. And then we're just going to throw a gas trap right out here. Now here at this core, we could get quite a few ranged mobs right here. So we want to make sure to protect that as well. Just by throwing just one DU buff or reflect beam just straight across that way. Alright, now we've got 86 DU left to work with. So let's head back over to the main core. We're going to start by dropping an ensnare aura directly behind it. Then we're going to drop another ensnare aura as close as we can get right here. And now we're going to need to protect this core versus some ranged mobs as well. They're going to be coming from this way right here. So let's just throw a 1D reflect beam in. And then, of course, they're going to be coming from that far lane. Now, as I mentioned earlier, the whole point of the build is you want to be killing as many of those portals as possible for the best possible loot potential. The more drops you have, the better chance you have to get a good drop. So, of course, you want to maximize the number of drops you have there. Once we get that set up, we're going to go ahead and throw a gas trap just right at the corner. The placement of the gas trap is dependent on your range, but you want the outer ring, the effective range of the gas trap, to be right at the bottom of these stairs over here. So make sure you get that in right there. And then we're going to throw down a big 6DU buff beam directly across this stretch. Maybe. Let's try that again. Okay, so 6DU just straight down the way there. Now we're going to start building this one in the back. And we're going to start off with 2 LTs right in the back. This is going to be where we are standing throughout the fight and killing all of those portals from. So we want to make sure we give ourselves a little bit of protection as well. So we're going to go with 1 reflect beam directly behind at the very back. And then we're going to go with another reflect beam all the way up front here. Just 1 DU just to make sure we've got ourselves covered versus any bads that might be throwing in at us there. Okay, and now we have got 53 left. We're going to want to go ahead and throw down... What all do we want? Well, we want another gas trap in up front. And then we're going to want 6 DSTs. So the 6 DSTs, there's going to be 3 that are facing this direction. And then there's going to be 3 that are facing that direction. No real important order on how you put those down. Just make sure you get each of those directions covered. So 3 in each of those kind of map cutoff points, dividing the map in 2. Of course, you want to make sure all of these are on your buff beam, so get them in there as close as possible. Let's get this one up as well right here. And then once you get those down, you're pretty much set. You're going to have a little bit of straggler DU left over that you can kind of do whatever you want with. Reflect beams would probably be the smartest thing to do there. And I'll give you guys some suggested placements for those reflect beams as well. Where these reflects are not necessarily going to be mandatory for every run. But with the portals opening in different timing, the difficulty does change throughout as you do your runs. Now, we need 2 more reflect beams. Where do we want them? Well, the obvious choice, I think, would be to get rid of this so we don't have such tricky placement. And that's going to allow us to go with just a full-on coverage reflect beam like this. Now, obviously, you can use the 1 reflect beam if you'd like to use these somewhere else. This is what I personally would recommend, just to give yourself 100% satisfaction that that one's covered. And then over here, not all the time, but 1 out of every however many runs, you might get some ranged mobs over here shooting at the core from right here on this top path. So you can remedy that with a reflect beam right here as well. And now with the build complete, we've got 4,600 more mana to spend. I'm going to use a striking gemstone. The striking gemstone is not really required. You can use a speedy gemstone and get the targets down faster. Or if you're having survivability issues, I would suggest using a giraffe for those big stat sticks, getting that big amount of vitality on there. But your call at this point, since it doesn't matter what gemstone you use, it doesn't matter where you're buffing, so anything's good. Now, we do want to get the rest of this mana spent, so let's go ahead and drop full ups onto that buff beam right there. And then we're going to drop 2 upgrades onto all of the DSTs here. That's going to leave us enough for 1 upgrade on each of the LTs in the back. Now, remember y'all, you're going to want to kill the portals. So that's what this build is all about, is killing portals. So we are going to stay right here on this center stack, and we're going to move to respond to kill all of the portals from the stack we're at. So starting right up top here, we've got a portal right here, which we can go ahead and pop. Then we're just waiting it out. Now, there is kind of a cycle you're going to want to take. Over here, we've got a portal. We can just go ahead right up top here and pop that one. Come back down to our stack and make sure that we are re-tower boosting everything. And there's going to be 6 portals each wave that open up. So the first priority every wave is going to be to deal with the portals. So don't worry about anything else that's going on until you get all 6 of those portals killed. So that one, you do have to run out front. You will get quite a few Dark Elves getting uppity on you, so you want to be cautious of that as you run out front to kill that particular portal. The rest of these, you can jump to pretty safe points without having to worry too much about the Dark Elf Warriors, which is pretty good as well. Now, although you can get away with missing a portal, obviously, once again, it's all about the loot, right? So we want to make sure we're getting as many of those portals killed as we can, even though the chance is small to get that fusion gear on the ground. It's getting fusion gear on the ground, so we would have some fusion gear laying. Now, once we get all of the portals dead here, you want to check for one thing, and that is a south side ogre. More importantly, an ogre from that lane over there. Depending on your power level, that ogre from up top here could potentially make it to the core. So you want to be prepared to run over and kite that guy for a second and wait for those LTs to burn it down before you move on. Since we didn't get a south side ogre, we don't have to sweat it, and we can just sit here and boost it out for the rest of the wave until it's all burned. Now, throughout the fight, you're going to want to prioritize first the buff beams, then the lightning towers. So first thing right here on wave 24, we want to make sure and get all of our buff beams fully upgraded. So I'm going to grab all of the juice I can from around this area, and we will hop up and get this buff beam all squared away. And then if the mana allows it, which it should, you're going to be able to throw 1 upgrade onto each of your LTs in the process. So let's go ahead and get all this mana collected up and get those buff beams fully upped. Now, once you get all your buff beams fully upped, as I said, prioritize the LTs. So we want to get the LTs fully upped now. And we're not going to worry about any more ups on the DSTs until all of the LTs on the map are fully upped. And we probably won't even get to that point. So let's go ahead and go through wave 24 here. It's another rinse and repeat of the same thing. You've got the 6 portals. They will open in different orders each time. It is fully random. So you want to make sure that you're just paying attention and knowing where each one of those portals is going to spawn. That way you can quickly respond to it. You can actually, if you're on top of your game, you can get all of the portals closed before a single enemy comes through. And that, of course, is just going to really lighten the load on all of those LTs that are scattered throughout the map. So still waiting for all of these portals to spawn. It takes usually, like, I want to say at least half of the wave's mob count, if not more, for all of the portals to get out there. I believe it might actually be a little bit more. So we do have a couple more to go here. We've got this one, which, like I said, is a little risky on the Delphs. Make sure you get your jumping game in order. And then just continue to tower boost and just wait it out until you get the rest of these portals all closed up. And we should only have one more portal. It actually looks like the mob count's going to be down to more like 25% before this is closed. We should have one more portal, I thought. Or did I get them all already? I didn't count them that time. It's looking like we don't have another one, so we must have gotten them all that time. And then, once again, open up your tack map and keep an eye out for that south side ogre while keeping your tower boost up. The south side ogre, there's a lot of lanes here, right? And the ogres can come from, I believe, every single lane. So the RNG says that the south side ogre is not going to be there every single run. However, you have to be prepared for it to be there, as it could get uppity on you, no doubt at all. So we're just about burned through that particular run. We got one more ogre coming out. Over on the far side, looks like this ogre is just going to get walloped. So no problems there. Now, once again, rinse and repeat, get all the LTs fully upgraded, and then you're into wave 25. So no more upgrades on the DSTs will be allowed at all, really, as there's just not enough juice for it. So we may not even have enough to get all of our LTs fully up. Let me take a look here. Of course, depending on your gear quality, use the same build, but start the waves earlier. So if you start this at wave 12, you're going to have the entire map fully upgraded. And actually, if you started at like wave 18, you'll have the entire map fully upgraded by the time you make it to wave 25. But prioritize those LTs, get them squared away. I'm just short from getting that one. I'm not going to run all the way back over, though, as it's not a huge deal at this point. Let's just go and hit the rest of them. Now, if there's any change left over on the mana, I'll just dump it into the DSTs that are back covering for those nightmare enemies on the map. We got another big chunk over here. And a couple of little drops right here as well. So let's see, we should be able to get these jacked all the way up now. We've got all of those. We've got enough to get that last LT up, but I don't think it's going to be game-breaking, so I'm just not even going to bother. I'm just going to run over here and slap some more upgrades around on these. Actually, I forgot to get these last two LTs. I guess shows you the importance of the upgrade priority. Get the buff beams up, that's the main thing. After that, you can kind of spread it around. I usually do try to focus the LTs more first, but obviously I failed on that one. But let's get wave 25 rolling on along here. And then same thing, rinse and repeat. Kill the portals, get the loot. So the more portals you kill, the more chances you have at getting an additional or multiple per fusion drops on that particular map. So getting the portals down definitely is what you want to shoot for on the keep here. There's just no doubt about it. And this build really makes it pretty easy to get to all of them without any major risk. And, you know, that's what we're all looking for, of course. Now, you can get the map done super quick without focusing the portals. However, then you're also not getting the loot. So, although the first time quick and easy run would be to not worry about the portals as much, you do want to make sure that you're focused on killing them once you get to a farm point on this particular map. And I believe we have one more. We should have a back one still. Or no, two more maybe. I don't think we got that back one yet. Keep our tower boost going here. Maybe we did. Or maybe it's not opening every time. Maybe it's a little bit RNG dependent. I'm not 100% positive on that one. Once again, keeping an eye out for that south side ogre. Unless one comes super, super late, it doesn't look like we're going to get one. Just about there, though. Only 100 mobs left. The deal with this map, there's a lot of different builds I've used now to beat it. I've seen several different really awesome builds other people have posted. However, this map, doing it this way and killing all the portals, I'm getting really close to 100% win rate. The slightest little derpage can throw you off. This map is quite challenging. You see we've got the ogre over to the east, so we'll be able to wreck that guy without any issue. And we get the GG win. So let's take a look at the loot that dropped. What did we get? We got a really low rolled minor piece. We got another minor piece. We got the 3-stat boots. I've been jinxed like the last day and a half with 3-stat items. That's a really good minor helmet, but once again, it's just missing one of the builder stats, so not something I'm going to go for personally. And that is a look at the farm build I am using on the keep. So thank you all so much for watching. Don't forget to click that like button. It does help me out quite a bit in getting this video jumped up into the Google algorithm, which does help out my channel. And don't forget to subscribe if you enjoy the content. So thank you all so much, and I will see ya next time around. Take it easy.